Right now, you're warm without even trying. The heat just works. There's a coat by the door you didn't kill anything to own. Food in your kitchen that will survive a week no matter the season. Now erase all of that. Bare skin. Winter's so brutal it erases you in hours. That was normal. Not one bad season. Hundreds of thousands of years. Your ancestors didn't just survive ice ages, they thrived in them. Continents locked under frozen sheets. Temperatures that would snap bone. And somehow, they made it. You're alive because every single one of them refused to die. So how does a soft, hairless animal that was literally built for African heat survive the coldest nightmare this planet ever threw at us? That's the story nobody tells you. Here's what they were actually facing. The last ice age peaked around 26,000 years ago. Ice covered Europe, Asia, North America. The land was flat, exposed, nothing to break the wind. Trees, rare. Food, gone for months at a time. Humans were not designed for this. We come from warmth. Our bodies still know it. We don't have thick fur, no fat layer like a seal. We can't hibernate. We can't slow our heartbeat and sleep through cold like bears. Strip a human naked in real cold and you get hours. Then the body shuts down and you're done. The animals around them? Built different. Mammoths had armor. Bears could disappear into caves. Reindeer just walked to warmer land. Humans had none of that. On paper, we should have been the first to die. Wrong body, wrong place, worst possible time. But we had something they didn't. A brain that could build, hands that could invent, and that turned out to be barely enough. It started with fire. Humans had been burning fire for maybe 400,000 years. By the Ice Age, it wasn't luxury, it was survival, and they were obsessed with getting it right. Archaeologists in Ukraine dug up Ice Age fire pits expecting to find rough little flames. Instead, they found engineering, carefully constructed fireplaces. One of them burned hotter than 600 degrees Celsius, over 1100 Fahrenheit. When wood ran out on open land, they burned bone, they burned fat, they burned anything that would heat. Fire cooked meat, hardened tools, gave them light when the sun barely showed up. But fire has a problem. You can't carry it. Step away and the cold owns you again. So humans did something no other animal could imagine. They took the warmth off dead things and wore it. At first, simple, hides thrown over shoulders. Then around 30,000 years ago, something changed. Something so small it sounds stupid. A sewing needle, bone, ivory, a tiny hole drilled through. One scientist called it maybe the most important invention ever. He's right. The needle meant fitted clothes, sealed seams, layers. Sleeves that closed at the wrist, a loose blanket and a fitted coat are different weapons. The needle was the difference between dying and living. Deer hide became boots, mittens, waterproof barriers. And before hunting, they rubbed animal fat, tallow on exposed skin. It sealed everything. Held heat, stopped wind from pulling warmth away. Simple, effective, brutal. Out on bright snow, another danger showed up: snow blindness. The glare could wreck your eyes, so hunters carved thin slits into bone and tied them over their eyes. Cut the glare almost completely. The first sunglasses, made of bone. But shelter is where the real intelligence kicks in. Everyone thinks caves. The truth is better. These people built their own houses. In what's now Ukraine and Russia, there were no caves, almost no wood, so they used what was everywhere: mammoth bones. They sank massive skulls and leg bones into the ground as foundation, curved ribs and tusks upward as frames, packed everything with hides, moss, earth. Heat stayed in. One house used hundreds of bones. Staying warm keeps you alive one night. Winter's real killer is slower. Hunger. For months, there was almost nothing to gather, so they became obsessed with saving food. When they made a big kill, they didn't consume it. They preserved it. Cold did half the work, freezing meat after a hunt. But they also smoked it, dried it into jerky, stored it in pits dug into earth where it stayed cold and safe. There's evidence they weighed mammoth meat down and sank it in frozen ponds. A natural refrigerator. No power, no breaking, no storms that could kill it. They wasted almost nothing. Every part of an animal got used, every calorie squeezed out. The hunting itself was orchestrated. At a site in eastern France, hunters used fire and teamwork to drive entire herds of horses and reindeer into natural traps. Not once. For tens of thousands of years, the same location again and again. Kill big, dry the meat, store it. That plan is why they survived. The most interesting part, they waited for winter. Their entire year orbited around preparing for it. We get surprised when a storm hits. They were never surprised. Most of their year was preparation, and they used each other, way more people under one roof than we'd tolerate. Way less space than we'd accept, on purpose. Body heat is real heat. Pack enough humans close and warmth multiplies. The person with their own room wasn't lucky. They were exposed. Usually alone people died first in a hard freeze. Nobody next to them meant nobody to share warmth. They also brought animals inside. Cows, sheep, livestock on the bottom floor. The animals threw off massive heat rising up through the family living above. You lived on top of your own furnace, and the furnace was a cow. Now think about it all for a second. These humans were standing in -40 cold, hunting mammoths with sticks and rocks. One mistake and that hairy tank turns them into paste on the snow. If the mammoth didn't kill them, starvation would, or infection from a cut, or another tribe crushing their skull for their food. Pure violence, pure survival. And you, if the AC turns off for an hour, you panic. Your ancestors licked frozen blood off rocks for hydration. You have an existential crisis because your latte is wrong temperature. A mosquito bites you and you act like you caught plague. These people got impaled by tusks, stuffed moss in the wound, kept hunting. It was Tuesday. But here's what really gets you. In a couple thousand years, we went from stacking mammoth bones into houses to pressing a button for heat. The deadliest thing our ancestors ever fought is now something we complain about on the walk to our car. We won so completely that we forgot it was ever a war. And we lost the thing that made us survive it. Toughness, will, the refusal to die. Your ancestors passed that down to you. The question is, are you still using it? In the next video, you will discover the terrifying reason why the brutal ancient savanna actually guaranteed mental toughness, and how we accidentally engineered our own misery. Make sure you are subscribed for the next episode. Why ancient humans never got depressed, and why you do. Because your anxiety isn't a broken brain. It is just trying to survive a world that no longer exists.